Hey YouTube, I'm Mars1952 and I've got another well problem. This is at a different house and it is currently very cold, even though it's February and spring should be starting here in North Carolina. Last night it got down to -1 degrees. So this well froze. It had insulation in it, water heater insulation over it on the inside, but that wasn't enough. So I don't have a tripod today, so this is going to be mostly handheld. But I'll show you what's going on here. Yeah, put in a heat lamp to thaw it out. And let me get in here closer. Okay, that's only a 250 watt heat lamp, but it was enough to thaw it. You see, we got it just burst. You see, water is running out of there, probably flowing back from the house. Obviously, it's been patched a couple times, maybe 3 times. So I've got to cut it back far enough to, well, I just got to cut it back and put it back together again. Since it is 10 degrees out here right now, I'm going to try to do this inside. It's 10 degrees and windy, so frost bite is a real problem, a real possibility. Alright, so I'm going to go inside. Alright, well, I'm in the shop. I got the parts that I just bought at Lowe's. They did not have one of these. I searched for a long time, so I was going to make one up, but you can see that is too long. The nipple and the coupler, this is fuse or weld to thread, and it's just too long. It's not going to work. So I've got to go back and get some different parts. This is the fusible one. I almost bought the one with threads and got a short nipple, but I didn't know how long to make the nipple. Alright, well, this time I'll take the parts with me. I should have done that the first time. You can see where I melted that with a heat lamp. Alright, back to Lowe's. Hopefully it won't be too cold when I get back. Alright, well, I'm back from Lowe's the second time. And I decided to go with all threaded parts to replace this instead of bothering to weld. Threaded parts are a little bit more expensive, a little harder to put together, but it's going to be about a break even on cost. I don't have to crack these open. I can take them back. That was about $8.50. And this, I had to buy this piece of pipe, even though I only needed a couple inches. And that sort of irked me. I hate to buy a piece of pipe and then just cut a couple inches off of it. So that can go back. This was cheaper than the longer piece of pipe. So let me slap this thing together, and then, this is, instead of welding it together, it's going to be slip coupled. I've never used one of these on a high pressure situation. Hopefully it won't leak. If it leaks, I did also buy the welded parts, so I can put it together welded if I need to. All right, let me put this thing together. All right, well, I'm back. It's now 8 degrees Fahrenheit. The winds have calmed a little bit, so it's not quite as bitter out here. Still thawed out. So I can turn this thing off finally. Find the plug. Okay, unplug. Briars in the way. Okay, what am I doing? Water's still coming out of that. That's another reason why I decided to use a slip coupling instead of welding it. Clean that up a little bit. Gotta get the edges too. Come on. I've pre-applied tape to these joints here. A crappy pair of pliers. Can't expect too much of them from them. I picked them up at the scrapyard. I'm out in the middle of nowhere here. I'm a long way from the shop. It would have taken me an hour to go back. This broken wellhead was sort of a surprise. I came out here with the idea of preventing this happening by running the water and all that stuff, but it was already broken by the time I got here. Come on. Come on, get up there. I don't understand why this thing is so hard to use. Alright. Now, anytime you take a well apart, you need to sanitize it. Unlike city water, there's no chlorine in well water. So my hands and whatever these pipes have been in contact with are not sanitary. So this will go right down the well into the standpipe. I have no idea how much to put in here. I talked to the well man about it. Okay, that's about all it'll take. We just need to sanitize this a little bit anyway. And last time I had my well pump replaced, he said just pour a gallon down it, then pump it through your house until it stops smelling like chlorine. And that's what I did. Okay, so now I have chlorine dripping all over the place. Let's see if I can get that on there far enough or not. As far as that'll go down. You gotta make sure you don't get this on your good clothes. Happily, I did not wear my good clothes today. And that is on there tight. I'm going to have to take that back in the shop and move and lubricate that a little bit. And rinse off the chlorine, and I have to rechlorinate it. Okay, that was a little tough getting it apart. I lubricate it with Vaseline. I don't know if this is going to do any good. And I left part of it inside. I've got to go back in and get it. Shoot. So I brought another Scotch-Brite pad for gripping. I'm going to rinse this off, get the bleach off of it. It does not seem to be leaking. I'm going to dry everything up here. Maybe it is leaking a little bit. No, that's coming off of here. I didn't bring any out with me, but I'll tell you what makes a really good leak detector is toilet paper. Once you get it good and dry, even the tiniest little drop of water will show up on toilet paper. It's not quite so obvious on a paper towel. Alright, so I'm going to try to tighten this up some more. Boy, I must have really gotten it tight that time. There's nothing left. Okay. See if I have a clean one, nice clean one here. So I have to let it go a little bit, because if it's just weeping, it's not going to show up right away. If it's leaking a lot, you can just take your finger under it and it'll pick up a drop. That might be wet there still. Of course, there's water in this joint here that's going to weep out. Okay, I think we got it. It's almost dark. It's already down to 8 degrees. Next, I got to put a heat tape on here before I quit. Alright, well, I'm back. Got insulating wrap, a 6-foot long heat tape. Since we're in the midst of a record-breaking cold snap here, they were out of the shorter ones. This is only, I can't remember how many watts it is. Let me look here. Only 42 watts. And they claim that this will keep it from freezing. Down to what, minus 30, I think it says on the package. Got a little Velcro to hold it in place. This is gardening Velcro. Right, now this gizmo right here is a temperature sensor, so you want that to be right on the pipe. I'll put that down here as low as possible. Let me get this nasty frozen bleach soaked insulation out of here. Should have done that before I poured the bleach around. And the reason I'm using Velcro here is because you get a lot of lightning strikes here. You might have seen my other video. And you got to take it apart, put it back together. Velcro seems like a good idea for that. Went a little stingy on the Velcro that time. Alright, so another advantage to putting this all screw together is taking it apart for when the well has to be redone, that kind of stuff. But what happens when we get a power failure. This sucker is going to freeze the next time we have a big storm. A lot of nearby communities are without power right now. So it doesn't matter how much heat tape you put on them if the power goes out. Come on, fingers. Fingers are getting cold. Gotta use up this extra pipe, extra whatever this stuff is, heat tape. Alright, so this last bit, my plan was to run it around this pipe. Shoot. All right, one more piece of Velcro. I might speed up through some of this. All right, now I can plug it in. When it's nice and warm, and sometime in the future, I will wire in a regular outlet here with buried wire. All right, so that sucker is plugged in. I'm going to suspend this and suspend it right there so water doesn't get in it. All right, the next step, insulation. Luckily, the wind has died down a little bit. Happily, luckily, coincidentally. Didn't bring any tape. I didn't buy any aluminum tape. It's what I'd normally use to tape this up. I already had 3 rolls of it at home. I didn't want to buy any more. It's going to take me 20 years to use up the 3 rolls I have. Little Velcro. I guess I'll come back later and dress that up with tape to get it to stay tighter. What do I do with it? Shoot. Well, I put things away instead of just setting them down. Well, I'm going to have to come back with some tape and do this a little bit better. I'm going to go over it a second time with this roll. These letting it go to waste. Should help. I think just the tape by the heat tape by itself would probably be enough. Well, I got a phone call. I have to ignore that. Okay. I put the cover back on there. When the ground thaws, I'll clean this up and set this pipe in there like it's supposed to be, and I'll bury a new power supply instead of using an extension cord. But that's the adventure for today. Hello again, it's the next day, and last night it got down to -2. It was predicted to be lower than that, but -2 was a record nonetheless. And this did not freeze, so that's good. But I forgot one little thing. The guy at Home Depot suggested to keep the critters out of here. I've had a lot of trouble with the animals getting in and tearing up my insulation. To keep the critters out, put mothballs in. So I bought one of these things that hangs in the closet. It had 2 bricks in it. That was supposed to be good for 18 cubic feet. This is nowhere near 18 cubic feet. So I took 1 brick out, save it for later, put one of the bricks in. So I'm just going to hang this thing in there, and that'll keep the critters away. Alright, finally done. Although, you're never really done. I'm considering putting better insulation in here that's easy to remove, so you can work on it, so I can work on it. And I'll make a different video about that. That's all for now.